Hello, and welcome back to the Marketing Brief Podcast. I am your host, Brian Aquan, and this is the podcast where we briefly touch on topics across the marketing landscape. As always, we're joined by industry experts. We're very excited to be joined by Rob Simon today. Rob, how are you?
Well, Brian, thanks for having me. Happy to
Thanks
be
for
here.
thanks for joining the pod. Would you like to introduce yourself and kind of tell the people what you've been working on?
I would, yeah. I guess I've been slumming around the startup industry for the past decade or so, building and leading design teams throughout Los Angeles. Started my career at the beginnings of Silicon Beach before it was Silicon Beach. And then had some luck, followed a company called Service Titan through their IPO. They were the first darling of Glendale, and they wanted a West Side designer. I went over there and learned how to be a designer, learned how to build a team. Then kind of ran over to the startup world and joined Altruist. They were right on Abbot Kinney Boulevard.
Yeah.
They offered to put a surfboard rack in the office if I was willing to leave Service Titan and come become their first designer. Probably coolest founder I've ever met. Stayed with them and then met a really neat guy named Mick McCarthy surfing, and he lured me over to the agency side. Did that for a few years and then got scared, realized the agency work is really, really hard. I enjoyed it, and I tucked tail and ran back to SaaS for a couple of years. And then, I had an interesting path there, grew an amazing team, and then fell in love with AI design specifically, and then transitioned out of there and have been running my own micro agency for about the last 11 months or so. And it's been the most work for the least amount of money, but for the most magnificent skill uptick in my career. And it's making me wonder if old dogs can learn new tricks, because I feel like we're inventing tricks now rather than just learning them, which is really, really fun. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And adapting tricks to a new landscape, a new paradigm maybe. So you're doing a lot of product design, UX design within AI, is that correct?
Right, 100%. And
Awesome.
a lot of it's all touching marketing, because everything we're doing in the design world is leading toward new user activation, user growth, user retention. And a lot of that really plays back to how are they understanding your product and your platform before they even come in the front door? And how does all of that top of funnel marketing work actually influence their expectations when they come in? Because we're starting to figure out that mentality and that mindset is critical to whether or not they're going to stick around, use the product, be committed enough to see it through and get the value out of it. And it's all super, super connected, because our attention spans are just being shortened and bombarded with so many invites. And there's wonderful new tools launched weekly at this point, arguably daily.
Yeah.
And the capabilities are increasing every 6 to 8 weeks with every new model. And then so competing for that consumer eyeball and brain space is becoming paramount.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. When I talk to clients now, marketing has become this giant pool where it used to be the product's done, all right, now bring in marketing and they're going to bring consumers in, right? And now you have to do all this work to, everything, all the design has to be built around marketing, right? You have to know who your consumer is, how you're going to engage them. All of this design work can be done with them in mind. It's not just an afterthought of, okay, now go get consumers now that we have a product.
100%, yeah. And even in the SaaS world, there was always almost a Berlin Wall between product and marketing was seen as a sales and a revenue ops bucket filler. So marketing was in charge of providing sales leads so they could sign people up and get them in the product. That stopped there, and then product took over in terms of retention, churn, keeping them there, recurring money and billing and all that jazz. And now we're starting to see that the product's evolving so quickly because AI is letting companies make things so fast that the marketing is happening inside of the product after they get there.
Yeah.
Being able to pull that off without alienating power users but still attracting net new users, and be like, well, you came in here for this, but we just made this, and that might be the thing that makes you the lifelong. And how do you market them in platform as well as text, email, podcast, YouTube, billboards, swag showing up on their doorstep? And so we're starting to see all these multi-channel things converge, because we're trying to build enthusiasts. And to your point that we were chatting about earlier, community. And that's
Absolutely.
Where I
I want to get to community. I definitely want to get to community. You've got a great point of just how do you execute, right? And I think it all comes back to having a solid strategy, which is something I always talk to clients first. I was like, yes, I know you want to be on Instagram. We will get there. But why do we exist, right? Like what are we trying to do? How do we deliver for this consumer? And then we can go and execute tactically in these different places and get to these different consumers. But you really have to understand why you exist first. What's the problem you are solving for consumers?
I love that. Yeah, and consumers we're looking for meaning when you buy stuff. And it's the older, I say the older that you get, but maybe the more money that you start spending on certain products. Like you go out and Smith came out with a $400 pair of sunglasses made out of ski goggle lenses. You know, they had them on sale for 50 off, more, whatever. You get them for $175. I still felt like I needed to justify buying that while I was going skiing. They're like, oh, what is that? And I was like, oh, there's these cool new sunglasses. So I had to come up with a whole narrative about why I thought it was worth dumping up $75 on this new, which turned out to be my favorite like ski purchase. They're amazing. They're great for spring skiing.
Yeah.
You don't sweat and all that jazz. But at the same time, Smith didn't really give me that narrative. Like, I had to almost generate that to help, like, justify this egregious purchase that, you know, has offered me a lot of, like, joy. But if Smith had actually, like, created that narrative and that story and that buzz online about why these are awesome, I guess that maybe I wouldn't have felt the need to do that. But, like,
well, one part is
no story.
Yeah, I would say one part is coming from the brand itself, like them giving you the reason, right? But imagine if a friend had told you, well, yeah, they're great, you should get them, right?
Yeah.
That's like an easy decision right there. Like word of mouth, sure. Someone else said that they work for them and I can relate to that person, then I immediately go to purchase.
That's how I bought my skis. I hadn't bought new skis in 10 years, and 2 people recommended the exact moment Death Wish. I was like, what the hell is that? Never heard of them. Small boutique company. Yeah, I had a ski tech and had a friend recommend. Just, and those two enough to elevate it to like the top 1 or 2 things I was looking for. And I never even heard of the company. Never been. Then went to their website. It was beautiful. It was great. You know, didn't even like the way the product looked. But that recommendation was enough to make me order them sight unseen. Read the description. I was like, those are the ones for me. And I was like, holy hell. And to your point, like, how do you facilitate more of that? Like, because even if it had come from some trustworthy site, that would have been enough too, or something that I'd been engaging with, or maybe I had a pair of Gooder sunglasses and they had to deal with Moment. They're like, we've just partnered with this boutique ski company. Like, this is what you want for variable slush spring conditions in Mammoth, California, where you're going to be skiing 4 months out of the year. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's my question for you. I mean, I think I've been writing a lot about the conversation economy that I think we're in right now. Is how do brands generate conversations? How are you part of the conversation in an authentic way? And how do you respond to consumers when they want you to ask things? And I know we talked a little bit about community as well. I think consumers and just everybody is craving community. It's like, what are the groups that I'm part of? How do I identify myself as part of this group? It might be a brand's platform that allows me to get in there and I find like-minded people. But when you're thinking about designing, how are you thinking about doing that for consumers in a way that is enabling community or bringing community along with it? Is there a way that you can do that in your design?
1000%. Yeah, because the most powerful, I think, advocates for your platform or product, whether it's software or physical goods, are people already using it. And there are a lot of people that have either been early adopters or lifelong adopters that they enjoy sharing their knowledge and their enthusiasm for it. It's like their significant others, their children, they don't want to hear about it. The neighbor doesn't want to hear about it. But they still have an impassioned experience that they want to share. And they've been creating a unique knowledge base just by the longer they use something or they adopt something. They're either becoming a product expert, an advanced power user. So we're finding online communities and forums, everything from like private Facebook groups have been working really, really well. Plumbers, electricians. I build a lot of software for people in the trades. Yeah. They love kind of elevating their social stature in these groups as being the expert on this certain area and having other people ask them questions. Yeah. And like even in non-productized groups, like I'm a member of like a twin fin surfboard group on Facebook, and everyone talks about their favorite twin fin surfboards, and people like are elevated in that group based on their knowledge and what they're willing to share. But it's not the smartest people and the most knowledgeable. It's the ones that are willing to engage, answer questions, let novices ask questions without feeling stupid, and then also like bringing additional insight. And then when you couple that with an actual brand community, it's really, really powerful. We're seeing some brands really like give special features, give certain access, give credits that they can share out with these power users to attract like-minded individuals. And that kind of like natural snowball effect where you're saying, well, let's empower these people. We're not paying them to be a community activator or community member, but they're valuable to us. So let's give them like like some ammunition to be able to share with people and to be able to say, cool, well, this guy's doing a lot of work for us. It's a heartfelt promotion. He believes in the mission. He believes in the product, and let's help him get some other people to level up.
Yeah, I love your take. When you were talking, I was thinking about how you grow from your core, which is something I always tell clients. They're like, how do I get new customers? How do we get leads? How do we generate new business? And it's like, well, grow from your core, right? You have people who trust you inherently if they're buying your product, if they're coming back to you. How do you enable those people to go have conversations and let others know that, hey, I had a great experience with this brand or this product? And as you brought that point up, like, people are willing to share a positive experience that they had with a brand, like being that information source to people and saying, you know what, I had a great experience with this brand and I'd like to share it with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so much more real. It goes beyond the comments and the reviews at the bottom of the product pages. Yeah, even brands that I trust, I'm starting to almost see some of those reviews disappear in a way, and I struggle with whether or not that's good or bad, because I have been so close to a buying decision, and you'll see one negative comment. Yeah. And it's enough to give you pause. Even in the sea of 1,000 positive ones, somebody says something that strikes a nerve. Whether or not it was placed by a competitor as a defensive move, or if it's actual honest, it's enough to sow doubt. But that's because it's a unidirectional, it's not a conversational medium. I'm just taking something and I can't follow up on it. If I see a comment like that on a Facebook group, I can ask. I can be like, well, that's interesting. Is it because of this and this? Because I'm trying to figure out if your bad experience applies to me or if that's a unique thing to you. And with software, like, it goes across the gamut. Like, we've got people of all technical backgrounds learning to use this stuff, and what's off-putting to someone is an attractant to somebody else. And that's the neat thing about these conversations, because if you do focus on your core offering, you know that the same stuff doesn't fit everybody, but different pieces of it resonate with different people's needs. Just like, I don't know, the Smith story. It's like, I'm not the guy that's going to pay $400 for a pair of sunglasses, but I overheat, I get hot, I get sweaty. Like, I will pay $175 if I can go down a black run and not be fogged up and then not be all sweaty and clammy at the end. And it's funny.
That's the value.
That's it. Plus,
to you, there's value at that price point for sure.
But nobody told me that, and there wasn't even a group that was like. And I mean, why doesn't Smith have a spring skiing group where let's go talk about the best gear when you're skiing when it's 55 degrees outside, it's 60? Because it's
that's where I was going to say, that's where brands can be that platform, right, for their consumers. I find myself as a consumer going to Reddit a lot because I'm seeking that conversation. I'm seeking, like, someone, countering someone's opinion and being like, go down 3 or 4 levels of, like, okay, who's the one that's most like me, right? I'm trying to find this consumer who's most like me, who loves the backcountry and loves to do things this way. And then once I find that person, then I'm like, okay, I'm following that person's advice.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, because you can't really follow somebody on Reddit, right? And say, we're the same. Whatever you learn, I want to know too.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to always ask my guests, what's something you're looking forward to? It can be in your professional capacity, it can be in your personal capacity, but what's something you're excited about right now?
It sounds really silly. I like spending time with my kid. I've got a 6.5-year-old that I love, and I'm also, like, really, really addicted to quote unquote vibe coding, which is just prototyping with AI, using Claude, using ChatGPT to make stuff. Because I'm an idea guy, I'm a builder, but it's been on my laptop. And I've been stuck. And literally yesterday, they just released something called Dispatch, where you can drive these things with your phone. So now I can set my computer up to make stuff, and then if I want to take kiddo to the park, I can literally just text my computer and say, cool, you're done with that, now let's work on this. And it's going to work on that while I'm done. And that's been the hardest part with remote work and being a dad, is just trying to figure out, like, how do I stay productive? And how do I keep moving the ball down the field? But I'm not going to give up age 6 to 10 with my kid to go make yet another prototype. But at this, I don't have to make that choice anymore, because I can give my human and my professional hours to the job in the morning, and then I can go to the park for an hour and a half with my kid and throw a football. But with a couple of messages on my phone, I can keep everything going on my end, and I keep working on the things that I need to do. And that's been the fun part. We call it human in the loop, like in terms of, like, designing with AI. But it's like carving out the point where that deserves a human, and then setting up a system to do all the things it can do better than a human until it's ready for you again. And so now we're starting to see this age of AI where it's detaching you from being in front of the computer, and you can start to think of these things running in 24/7. And all the platforms are moving into agentic usage, meaning that you're now creating these artificial actors and these agents to perform things for you 24/7, you know, and which is very, very interesting. And if you thought the world was moving fast last year, like wait till the end of 2026, because
exactly.
now platforms are self-optimizing. And then same with our marketing campaigns. And it can test and test and test, and you can wake up in the morning, you can have the perfect match of creative voice, placement, and timing. That said, the computers are going to tell you why it worked from an emotional or human level. It's not going to tell you, did you make an actual community impact? Did you create the seed of an actual community that wants to gel around this idea because they see themselves in it? Like, it'll give you all the qual and all the metrics and all that jazz, but it's not going to give you the soul of the product. And that's the indescribable thing about these brands that work, and you can't quite figure it out. They were in a saturated market. They didn't have a massive budget. The design was great. You know, it wasn't like some new magic technology, but they hit it, and they ran off on like Vacation Inc. They made sunscreen. There are ingredients in there that will kill you. I still buy it, and I know better. I love the brand. I think it's genius. I love what they do. I love their website.
Yeah. Being authentic.
They have canning oil with SPF in it. How the fuck does that work?
Understanding why you exist is so important. Well, how do people get in touch with you? Is LinkedIn the best way to get in touch with you? You're taking on projects all the time.
I am, yeah, LinkedIn. I'm on. I had to pick one network to focus on, and somehow, I don't know, I got 11,000 followers on there by accident.
Okay.
And like all of us now, that either you're 2 years in your career or 20 years in your career, like we all have a lot of learning to do, and it's scary. And it's like, so these communities where you can support each other and figure it out together have been invaluable. You know, I feel like LinkedIn's given me the equivalent of a master's degree in the last 6 months on AI design, because the brightest voices surface. And I just learn every morning. I wake up and I scan it, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to go try that. That's brilliant. I get really excited about my craft. And from a marketing perspective, I'm like, man, that's so cool. You could actually engage with 1 million customers right now through crafty agents if you can train them to respond at the right time in the immediate need at 2 in the morning when someone's trying to figure out, do I buy this? Do I buy that? Is it a medium? Is it a large? Is it a marge? Thank you, Marine Layer, for inventing that. Brilliant sizing up. Yeah.
Being ready when the consumer wants to talk to you. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Rob. It was great to have this conversation with you. Thanks for joining the Marketing Brief podcast. It was great to have you as a guest.
I appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for having me. It's just so cool seeing like design and marketing like enmeshing into the same thing now.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know, just putting the user back at the heart. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, this has been a brief conversation on the Marketing Brief podcast. Our guest has been Rob Simon. So much, Rob. Everyone stay curious out there.